Hey team, this is Casey.
And this is Shannon, and you're listening to 8 Count Breakdown.
Your home for all things college dance all in one place. All right. As you can tell, we're doing remote round 2. If you didn't know, the entire United States is in like a polar vortex right now, and it is like negative 40 degrees out there today in Minnesota, and I don't want my car to die.
We couldn't even make it to each other's houses, so.
No, but we wanted to make sure that we get this week's episode out on time for you guys and get the chance to break down some of these amazing open teams. I think we've said it over and over again, but we had so much fun watching every single team this year, and we watched every single dance, every single team this year. It was amazing. All the teams did so well. We spoke to, was it 16 or 17 teams prior to nationals this year that we kind of got an inside look into their mindset going into nationals. So we'll talk about some of those today, and we were able to see some of those mindsets and goals put into action. And some of them actually, I noticed when reading back through what they sent, some of them actually like subtly hinted at what they were doing. And I'm like, oh my God, we totally missed that. So we'll break that down in a little bit, but so excited to talk about these open teams today.
If you haven't watched Open, please let this be your sign to check it out because, yeah, some of my favorite routines were in this division this year. So we're going to start off with POM. So coming in first place in Open POM is Minnesota State Mankato. They had a theme. It was called Back to Back is what they posted on their Instagram. It was mixed by sounds like that. And it kind of had like this like champion power, like winning on top theme. So very, very confident. Choreographed by Danny Eustace. Incredible choreography.
Fun fact about Danny Eustace, she had 6 routines at nationals this year and all 6 made it to finals.
Yeah, and she must be just like, she's huge in the dance world because I swear like everybody and their mother like knows her and was like commenting like how much of a legend she is. Like legend, queen, like all the best words. Everyone was using them to like describe her. So Minnesota State Mankato are now 3-time POM champs. So back to back to back. Obsessed with their costumes this year. Anna Hilty, shout out to Anna Hilty. She let us know that those costumes came from the Highland Hawkettes, which we went back and looked at their costumes and they are like the exact same, just different colors. And they're so beautiful. So the lineup actually bought the design from Highland. Yeah, it was so good. It sparkled so much. We saw this live. So just like seeing the sparkles under the lights was incredible. So this routine was like full of power, action packed, lots of acro. As we mentioned in our like initial insights, there was a lot of acro and POM this year throughout all the divisions. So this dance was no different. I mean, like round off back handspring layouts, full team aerial into a back handspring, just lots of acro, and it was all very clean. It reads really well when that acro is performed really cleanly. But yeah, just a very confident theme, and they showed up with confidence and it won them first place.
Yeah. And that's the thing with acro is like it has to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It has to be done well. I think so many teams nowadays are starting to do it because, and this is a controversial thing too, you see online, like there needs to be less acro because this is about the dance and the movement quality. And I do agree with that, but I do think the acro is also fun and very like wow moment to see. I do understand both sides of it, but I think where I am is I like to see it, but I like to see it done well. And I think the Mavericks did do that. And it does have to hit every time because more teams are doing it, more teams are adding it when maybe it hits like 90% of the time. But I just feel like Mankato is one of those teams that it's going to hit every single time.
I feel like you can really see that in the landing. It's not just about how high they get, which that does show. Like if they're getting a lot of height, like they're also probably going to land it well, as long as they don't get too much height. So like if they stick that landing and it's like a smooth transition into the dancing that comes after, I think that's kind of where maybe some of the controversy comes in is like if it's not flowing into the dance, then it does feel like, oh, they just plopped this acro into a
Totally.
dance. Like, it doesn't feel like it's like blended. But when you can blend it, then it does feel like part of the dancing. It adds to the dance.
Mhm.
It's not like a separate entity. And so,
It's
yeah,
not
they really
forced.
did. Yeah, exactly. They executed it beautifully, and it was so, I mean, it just felt like it went with the style of the dance. It was not separate. So congrats to Mankato. Coming in second was University of Minnesota Duluth. They had a clock theme this year. The music was by their choreographer, Adriana Ruda from Tribe 99.
Their profile picture this year, and this will tie into Palm right now and then Jazz that we'll talk about in a little bit, but it was a grandfather clock in like this woodsy setting, and the grandfather clock had like a white t-shirt on. Their hint that they gave us was the clock and then therefore the time theme. I think that the clock was hinting at Stranger Things because part of Vecna's whole backstory is this beautiful grandfather clock, and it looked very similar, and throughout they had this like Vecna like voiceover happening to transition between songs and just different themes that played throughout. There was in Stranger Things this like clock chime to let the characters know that Vecna was coming or nearby, and they had that, and it was just, I don't know, as somebody who watched Stranger Things, I was geeking out a little bit.
She pulled it up on YouTube so I could like hear what it sounded like because I don't know anything about Stranger Things, but it
Had
was
to
really
make
cool.
you aware.
Yeah, I had to know. Because if you don't know, like, you would just be like, oh, it's a clock. Like, cool. But when you, like, know the connection, you're like, whoa, it does make it cooler.
And the voiceover that they had sounded like exactly like just like the scary, deep Vecna voice. It was so fun. I loved it.
They told us in their little preview for a Mindset episode about their goals, they did say that this dance would push the open division with speed, acro, dynamics, and like fun sections. And it really did. Like we were saying, like a lot of these dances really pushed this division. The speed of these like top teams in this division, I feel like are competing with like D1A. D1A or just like palm turns in general are getting so fast. It's nuts. It's like
so fast.
Starting to get to like physically impossible. Like, how are you doing that? I feel like if I went back and looked at one of my palm routines from like college, I'd be like, that is the slowest thing I've ever seen in my life.
5, 6.
Yeah. It'd like,
yeah, no.
It'd be like slow motion.
Although I loved fast turns. I never did them in a dance, but they're just fun to do when you're like spinning around so fast. But the fact that these teams are now doing it in a team setting and thriving.
Versus just like yourself, like throwing yourself around. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Because sometimes, I don't know, you play around and you're like, how fast could I go?
Yes, it is fun. Like once you like get your center and you just start like flying. But yeah, shout out to UMD and Mankato that are both just really pushing the speed. My favorite part in this routine was the song Gas Pedal when they were like in a straight line and they were doing that like cute little hip thing. It was absolutely like I wanted to jump up on stage and do that. So fun. And I just felt like they really committed to the theme of like, when I was watching their palm motions, it was so tight and sharp that it reminded me of a clock. And like a lot of their like palm motions resembled a clock even. And so I just felt like they really took it and ran with it. And I love when teams commit to a theme, that they don't just like do it and maybe a song or two here has words in it that relate to the theme. But like, I mean, all the songs are related to it. Their dancing is related to it. Their costume is related to it. I love that. So I felt like they really did that and it made it for a really fun routine. So coming in third was Endicott with like an I, me theme by Chop Jones. Shannon Perez choreographed this routine. She's done a couple palm. Used to be, I feel like, known more for her hip hop, but now, and I could be wrong on that, like maybe she's always done palm and hip hop and now I'm just seeing her do more palm, but it's really fun. I think she has super creative choreo that's really original in the palm category.
So my favorite part of this dance was Glorilla's What You Know About Me. And I think we'll talk about this more in like hip hop throughout the next few weeks. You'll notice a theme that everybody used Kendrick this year. But I think in palm and hip hop both, one of the most used songs, if it's not a Kendrick Lamar song, it is What You Know About Me by Glorilla. When you're watching UDA, there's always like at least one song that so many people are using and you're like, there it is again, there it is again. But like, they're always great songs.
Yeah,
so
they're super hype.
And I was vibing to it every time. The more I heard it, the more I vibed. So they had just the entire time in their routine when What You Know About Me was on. That's just my favorite part of the dance. I wish I could tell you like this specific move, but no. Just that entire part as soon as it came
No.
on. And they, you know, when you can tell like a team's favorite part, like it
Yes.
had to have been their favorite part too. Just they looked like they were having the time of their lives and I wanted to dance with them too.
I love that. Something fun that Endicott does with UMD. This is the second year that they've done it, but they have community building at UDA. So like they do activities together and build camaraderie that way. They seem to have created like really great friendships between the teams. Like all the teammates from both teams were like commenting on this picture of both teams together, and they have like this couple name for themselves. It's like N Duluth or Ducat, and it's so cute. And like I just love that. Like I just had to share that, even though it's unrelated to the dancing, because I just think like part of our goal, right, is to create this beautiful, welcoming, supportive dance community. I feel like Endicott and UMD are truly putting that into action. And so I'm just really happy that they posted about that and shared that, because I think it's something that other teams could do and build awesome friendships and connections that way.
Like a sister team.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah. If there are more out there, if you are on a team that has kind of like another team that you're close with, let us know. And we're just so curious to hear about those stories. I think that that is so important and so needed, because the world of spectators outside of UDA and sports in general, like you just always turn like rival teams against each other. And really, like everybody behind the scenes is so supportive, so loving. Like you want other people to succeed. And I think that Endicott and Duluth have that camaraderie that if either one of them would have gotten second over the other, they would have been happy for the other.
Yeah, like this is the second and third place team. They are competitors on the floor, but I think by posting and by showing more of this camaraderie, I think it shows, like you're saying, like we know this is how it is behind the scenes, but like spectators don't know that. And so I think the more that we can share this and show people that like, no, we really are like friends and we love each other on and off the floor. Like, I just think it helps the whole, like, then people don't get as upset when like maybe their favorite team doesn't win. It's like, no, we still love them. Like we still want the best for them. We still want them to earn their well-deserved placement, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Even though we're fighting for it too, it's all love.
Yeah. I'd love to see that more within divisions, because we're from Minnesota. I think I've always seen that with the University of Minnesota and then the University of St. Thomas. Those two teams tend to do things together, but they're not in the same division and they're also in the same state. And I think that a lot of people in the dance community in Minnesota know each other really, really well. So I would love to see more teams in the future within the same division and maybe across the country, like Duluth and Endicott. I just think that that's a really beautiful thing and a beautiful representation for the rest of the world.
Okay, so going into fourth place is Orange Coast College. They had a natural disaster themed pom routine, which was really cool. Brittany Roberts and Jenna Warner, who are their coaches, actually choreographed this routine.
So they completely gave away their theme with their profile picture. Not a lot of teams do that. Some of them are very subtle, but OCC was very on the nose, and their profile picture was a house and characters from this like Roblox game. I'm not familiar, had to do some searching, but it's a natural disaster survival game. And then they said in advance to us when we talked to them that this dance was going to be action-packed, and their profile picture was very representative of that. There was so much going on. I think that's what they did with this dance.
Yeah, this dance was super fast-paced. Like we've been talking about this whole time. Pom is a super fast-paced category. They were fighting to keep up with that fast-paced choreo, and it was like constantly moving. They used the entire floor. It was fun to see how much they traveled, and I just can't imagine how tired they were at the end of that dance because it was so much movement. But really fun routine. Coming in fifth was St. Cloud State University. So theirs was a time theme, just like UMD. Theirs was choreographed by Megan O'Malley Jones. And they also sort of had a Vecna voiceover. And they just had a lot of great leg moments in their dance.
Yes, they got great legs on that team. Gorgeous, gorgeous
Which I
lines.
feel like, yeah, I feel like you sometimes see that more with jazz, like where people are like holding those lines. And Pom is more like jumps and pops, but I feel like, yeah, you could really see their lines in this dance, which was really cool.
If you've got it, use it.
For real.
And they were only like 0.24 away from OCC for fourth.
Yeah.
I always want to see the score sheet and just know, like,
Yeah.
what was it?
It's always so close. Like,
So
just
close.
the littlest things. Yeah. And I feel like that's so hard for the teams that don't make it there. Like it's like so exciting for the teams that do, and then the ones that are like a tenth of a point behind. But you crushed it, St. Clouds. Feel confident in your performance and that you did an amazing job because it was really fun to watch. Like very high energy. We're going to go through 6th through 10th as well. Just any notes that we have about them, their choreographers. So coming in 6th, we had St. Joseph's of New York. Theirs was choreographed by David Machkovich. And their what to watch for that they told us was just a high energy, crowd thrilling moments. And yeah, they really delivered on that. Congrats to St. Joseph's of New York.
I'm still not sure about their profile picture. So we couldn't figure out their theme. I don't know if it's because the live stream, like we couldn't hear the words of the songs, and sometimes when there's like covers of songs, they're hard to hear. So anybody from St. Joseph's listening, please tell us what your theme was because we really want to know and how it correlated with your profile picture. As a reminder, it was 4 toy army guys in a barren desert landscape on a path to the Hollywood Tower. However, jumping to jazz really quick, their jazz song was Hotel California. So the Hollywood Tower, Hollywood's in California. It's a hotel, Hotel California.
So we got that part. We just need to know the rest of it.
So I don't know. I was listening for like a toy soldier or like I don't know if I just like couldn't hear the words of the song and maybe it was like a soldier, like army theme.
Or it could be that like because you had that in your head of that's what you thought their theme was going to be, that like when you didn't hear a soldier theme, you're like,
myself.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what it is.
Just panicked.
I don't know anything. Coming in 7th was Pittsburgh State. They had a really cool theme. Theirs was a countdown theme, but it was like each song had a different number theme. So like it started with 7 Nations Army was their first song. And then it was like a G6. And then I can't remember what some of the other ones. I know one was Hit Me Baby One More Time. So it's just really cute
so
that like
fun.
each one was like the next number in the countdown. Theirs was choreographed by Abigail Quillen. So they had to go off stage and start over in their pom routine. The UDA was having a little bit of music troubles this year. And so quite a few teams during this finals round had to like go off. It sounds like the music was like playing really quietly, so only like some of the dancers could hear it and some couldn't. So they like just took them off, allowed them to reset, and then came back in and crushed it. This is their first time competing in POM in 5 years, so that's also amazing to make it to finals and have this finish. 8th was Roger Williams University. They did a rock theme choreographed by Kristen Colin and Jennifer Cataldi. And holy jumps, their routine had the most powerful jumps. So yeah, whatever you guys are doing, it's working. Like, I don't know what sort of strength training or technique you're doing, but that was awesome. Coming in 9th was University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. This was another one that they were having a hard time with the music. So I think what they did was they completed their routine, even though like everyone kind of started at different times when they could hear the music. And then they allowed them to come back out and compete again later. I know that's like a lot of adversity to face while you're at nationals and you've got all that adrenaline and to have to like that like anxiety of starting off and then having to do it again. Props to you guys for doing that, pushing through and ending up in 9th place. Coming in 10th, we have Adelphi. We apologize that your team name was mispronounced quite a few times. So it is Adelphi. For those that don't know, it was choreographed by Matthew Kirschenheiter, which he choreographed their POM and their jazz, which is awesome. He's from St. John's, so huge fans. We don't know what their theme is either. So Adelphi, if you want to let us know what your theme is, we could not figure it out.
Let us know. We tried our best.
We really did. We were like listening to every lyric and all of the dances, and we're like, we couldn't make connections.
There were some you'll hear in the hip hop category next where I just feel like there was no theme and it was just fun songs, which I love.
Yeah.
But I would like type it all into, sorry, I know that ChatGPT is very controversial, but I just couldn't figure out a theme. So I would type like, okay, here's all of the song names. What do they have in common? And ChatGPT would be like, club mix. And I'm like, okay.
You're like, not helpful.
But now we're transitioning into hip hop. So you'll be hearing a lot of that from me. But in first place was Northwest Community College. Love them, love their team. They push this category so much. The talent is just incredible. But their song was produced by Chop Jones. Very bass heavy club songs. Thanks, ChatGPT. But they had songs like Club Mix. They had songs like Drop and Give Me 50 by Drake. That Go by YSL, Young Thug, and Meek Mill. TV Off by Kendrick Lamar. And then they had like a slow part, which is very groovy, Under the Influence by Chris Brown. Probably one of my favorite parts of the dance. Their choreography was a collective effort between the team, Blessin Marche, and Patrice Christian, their coach. They got a 95 out of 100. This is their third championship in a row, back to back to back. So overall, there is like a ton of internet hype going on behind this team right now. They said when they posted their dance, we stayed committed to leveling up as a program while staying rooted in our authentic style and culture. And then, yeah, I just loved this mix of songs, just banger after banger after banger. They had some kind of lift in the beginning, which was super, super cool in semis. Unfortunately, it didn't hit in finals, but I really loved the vision. That part of the routine was just like super dynamic. When it hit in semis, it just like so many layers going on and like so many different things happening that all just like tied together, and it just all complemented each other. It was really, really well done. And then, yeah, just overall a super dynamic routine. I love Northwest's style. They have a very, and I mean this in the best way possible, they have a very like cocky kind of persona on the floor. It just makes them look like ballers. Like they look so cool and just like, oh,
I feel like it is like
I love it.
Like a persona. Like when you're doing hip hop, like you
Yes.
do have to like enter a different persona when you go on stage. So it kind of reminds me of Tate McRae, how she has this alternate persona, Tatiana, who like she becomes this different person with a different name when she goes on stage. And like she seems cocky when she's on stage, right? Like she has that cocky persona, just like you're talking about here, but it's not like her, and we're not saying like she's cocky in real life. Like she's sweet, she's humble, she's kind-hearted. Like it's just like she has to put on this different persona because she's performing, right? It's just like actors. Like they're not their character that they are in this movie in real life. Like we all know that,
Yeah.
but I feel like we now need to translate that to dance. Like just because someone's cocky when they're dancing does not mean that that's who they are in real life. Like it is character and it's awesome, and it like sells this routine and just makes you love it.
And every time that I encounter a video from a dancer on that team online, and I talked to Patrice Christian when preparing for our like looking ahead episode, and all of them are super humble, just like seem so like down to earth. So I really like, this is a persona, but it makes them look so cool. And again, so baller. And I just like loved this dance. I just like was smiling the whole time. They have this part that's like, bow, bow, bow. And you can hear the whole crowd singing it too. And it's just so hype. I would give anything to go back in time and be there for that part and just bow, bow, bow. And then I mentioned it before, but Under the Influence by Chris Brown, they kind of slowed it down. And they have like two couples doing this like partner work that's kind of going viral online right now. And people like recreating it. And last thing, I want to thank Northwest Community College for introducing me to a Young Thug song that I could introduce to my husband, who's like the biggest Young Thug fan.
There was a lot of Young Thug at their wedding.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There really was. But like, that's unheard of in our household. I've never once introduced a new Young Thug song to this man, and thank you, Northwest, for letting me do that. I appreciate it. Anyways, moving on to Stockton in second place. Their song was Nobody's Business by Rihanna and Chris Brown. Choreography was done by Aaron Knopp. So after last year, Stockton missed a podium placement by half of a point. I loved their routine last year. It was the bright pink set. So I'm really happy for them that they were able to come back this year and take that second place podium spot. I love how their choreography at the beginning feels very like pedestrian. They're in these like business suits and they have these like plush briefcases because you can't have like hard props like that. So they're plush and they're just like, it's very pedestrian. There's obviously more choreography, but they're like walking to work vibes before they get into the more intricate choreo. The storyline, in my opinion, I feel like they're like walking to work and then they have a male dancer kind of like bump into one of their female dancers and they have like a little moment and then it kind of gets into the full team choreo. So I feel like it's like falling in love on your way to work or at work, like or business place romance, but very fun vibes. This routine was very different than Northwest. So less mean mugging hip hop and more like sassy, flirty. So it was cool to see in the top two spots routines that are very different from each other. So amazing job, Stockton. Loved that dance. In third place was the College of New Jersey for the second year in a row. They had a mix by Sounds Like That, and it was giving like main character energy. Thanks, ChatGPT. So their mix started with Sports Car by Tate McRae, with a little bit of Destiny's Child, and ended with In the Club by 50 Cent. Choreography was done by Nicole Turgiani of Triggs Choreo, and this is only their second year competing in open hip hop, and they also got third last year. So for them to be doing this well 2 years in a row, 2 years in, is amazing. So happy for them. And then their profile picture was the gas pump on the dock, and we thought it was a lake, but we'll get into what we think the lake represented in jazz. But I think the gas pump, okay, this feels like a stretch, but it's either the vibe, the overall vibe, or like gas pump was hinting at sports car, because like you fill up your car with gas, and they had Sports Car by Tate McRae. Is that bad?
Because you fill up your car with gas. Thank you for explaining that to us so
Yes.
clearly.
Yes, but this routine was very cute. They played with the music really well. Sometimes they would dance to the different beats. Sometimes they would dance with the lyrics. Another dance that had What You Know About Me by Glorilla. So congrats, College of New Jersey, on second year in the top 3. Fourth place was Westchester. They had kind of like a flexin' on them kind of mix. They had a song called Grills. They had What You Know About Me. They had Big Dogs. Choreography was by Alexa Miller of Tribe 99.
Was flexing on them given to you by ChatGPT?
Maybe.
Seems like something
Maybe it
they would
was.
say.
I feel like just a general trend in hip hop is like either you do one song or you have like a mix of just like
Bangers.
really fun like banger
Yeah,
hip hop
yeah,
songs or like
for sure.
deep cuts. Like there are some times where I'm like, I don't know that song, but it's a vibe and I'm adding it to my playlist immediately. But I feel like more often than not, it's like a general mix of songs. Sometimes occasionally, like we'll talk about Eau Claire in a minute, but Eau Claire had like a specific theme. But I feel like for the most part in hip hop, it's like, I don't know. I like these 5 songs and they're bangers and it's they all flow together nicely.
Yep.
And maybe I'm wrong. Again, if there's any teams listening and I'm wrong, you can tell me I'm wrong. So Stockton and Westchester kind of flip-flopped this year. So Westchester got second last year and Stockton got 4th last year, and they kind of flipped this year. But Westchester was in 5th going into finals, so they bumped up into that 4th place spot. Their profile picture had the musical artist Saucy Santana, and their hip-hop song did have a Saucy Santana song called Booty. Overall, I'm just really, really impressed with their routine this year. It was very fun. They said on their Instagram post that this routine represents every late rehearsal, every correction, every tired moment where they chose to push themselves past their limits. And that's such a huge part about going through nationals prep, is like there are so many times where your mind tells you to quit before your body actually needs to, and pushing through that is going to make you stronger. It's going to make you better. And I can just tell that they took a lot of pride in this routine. But it was very clean. Shannon and I are using a new term, and maybe other people are using it, but crispy is our new, like, yes, there's like clean routines and everybody looks the same, but like when everybody's hitting it and there's like an extra emphasis behind the clean movements, it's like there's intention and there's picture moments happening.
There's like an
with
extra
every move.
like hold past the move, right? It's not just like it gets there, it's like it's there and it like hits and stops for that extra second.
Crispy just feels right. But this dance was very crispy. Even on their smoother moves, it's very together. And they had What You Know About Me by Glorilla, another one. And another one. And they, for that song, they had this girl on center and she was just giving everything and just serving. And in 5th place was the University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras. They had a song by Rao Alejandro, and they are up in 5th place from 9th last season. And I was just very, very impressed with them this year. I loved their bright red costumes. It was just very fun and flirty. And then I love that they leaned into their Latin roots. It was just very entertaining. It was very original. I feel like with a lot of teams, you're seeing a lot of the same things. You're seeing a lot of similar moves happening. And what I love about the teams from Puerto Rico is I feel like they have a different style that they bring every year, and they do it so well, and it's authentic and it's true to themselves, and they're not trying to conform to what the other teams are doing. They're staying true to themselves, and that's just always so fun to see, and it worked out extremely well for them this year, earning them a top 5 spot.
Hip hop has a lot of like its roots are in Black and Latin culture. And so I just feel like they are the ones that created hip hop. And so I think leaning into that was like just such a smart move because like that they're the ones that are influencing this style of dance. And so we're just really grateful that they like shared that with us on the stage and put that out there and that it did well and showed other teams what it can look like.
Yeah, absolutely. They played with the music so well, and it was very entertaining. So I don't know if they're listening to this, but if they are, like, amazing job this season, you guys. I cannot wait to see what you guys keep bringing. Congrats on top 5. So happy for you. Moving on to 6th place was Westfield. They are up from 11th place last season. And then we have University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire in 7th. And like I mentioned before, they have a theme, a very fun theme. It's a booty mix by Derek Paris / Paris Sounds. Choreography was done by Maddie Robinson of Tribe 99. And their profile picture was a salt shaker. And they did have Shake It Like a Salt Shaker. I think Shannon clocked that. I think
totally
you said
did.
that. Okay. Okay.
So proud.
It was like overall like booty / like shaking it. And then they had a piece of candy too in their profile picture, which is presumably supposed to represent Laffy Taffy and Shake That Laffy Taffy. And then they gave us a hint. This is one of the teams that gave us like a little hint without us knowing. For episode 8, they said they're ready to shake the floor. But yeah, I love that they like dropped a little Easter egg and used that. Like that was very specific that they chose that word. And now I'm going to be like reading into things next year when we like reach out to teams to kind of get their mindsets ahead of 2027. I'm going to be like over analyzing everything, but love that. That was so smart and witty, and I'm obsessed that they did that. It's so Taylor Swift of them. In 8th place was Rowan, and they had Pretty Boy Swag by Soulja Boy. Their choreography was done by Brinley Linton and Bree Choreography Management. In 9th place was the Catholic University of Puerto Rico. They did like an orchestra / conductor theme. They had these white like ski masks over their face. And then in 10th place was University of Sacred Heart, another Puerto Rico team. Their song was Gently by Drake featuring Bad Bunny. And love a little Bad Bunny moment ahead of the Super Bowl this year. That dance got me so excited for Super Bowl. The second best Super Bowl.
The halftime performance that has a football game around it. Yeah.
And then I did want to shout out University of Puerto Rico Ponce. They just missed finals this year, and they missed finals by 0.15 of a point. And I loved their dance. So I think we're going to see more of them in the future.
So lastly, we're going to do the jazz category in the open division. So in first place, we have Minnesota State Mankato again. They were first place in POM as well. And this is also their 3rd time getting first place in jazz. So for 3 years in a row, they've been double champs in POM and jazz. Crazy. But I do have to say this was one of my favorite routines of the weekend. Paparazzi by Lady Gaga was their song. It was the acoustic version. So very powerful, choreographed by Kristen Biwan, Taylor Shoup, and Ben Madrigal. Their profile picture was a silhouette of someone surrounded by paparazzi. So very spot on to their theme. It was such a stylized jazz. It was just made for this team. Like everyone clearly had trained in this style of jazz for so long. Their technique was impeccable. You were just like in the story the whole time. I loved the hats. Props can sometimes get tricky, especially in jazz routines when it's a lot more fluid. I just feel like a lot of times the props can kind of take away from the dance, or like it's hard to get them synchronized, but I felt like they absolutely crushed the hats. I felt like it added to the routine. I have to say too that we did watch this one live. And so I think seeing it live for the first time, it was something totally different than watching it on a screen. So if you didn't see it live, just know that it was like one of those dances that you're just like so invested in when they're doing it live. And they were all characters in this routine. Just the technique, like I said, like from their fingertips to their toes, like the points, the releves that they were on, like it was such a good routine. So I could talk about this one forever, but I will move on to 2nd place. But just congrats, Mankato. Congrats to the choreographers.
We should talk about their hats.
Was really good. Oh, yeah. So they posted on, I think it was TikTok, they were revealing like how they did their hats because they have their hats on and they're doing like all this crazy choreo that like clearly it's secured some way, right? Otherwise their hats would have fallen off by this point. And, but then
I
like
guessed a
partway
magnet.
through, they like, yeah, you did guess a magnet, which was like really out there. But like it
I
couldn't
don't
be
know.
like
I
a
thought
clip
maybe it was
because
like
like
under their hair.
they take it off so swiftly that you're like, wait, was that like even attached? Like, how did that happen? And so they did reveal that they had a strap under their chin that they all covered with their foundation. So it like matched their skin. So you could not see the strap at all. And then they just like slid it off. So then the strap obviously came off with it. So very, very cool. Coming in second, we have University of Minnesota Duluth. So they did the song In This Shirt by the Irrepressibles. It was choreographed by Annie Pierce and Grace Gilbertson. So they actually won this category back in 2023, and this is their third time in a row getting second place in Mankato. So they are just neck and neck with that team, and they are just so good as well. Like it is so like either one of them could win this category at any time. But if you remember, Casey was saying how they changed their profile picture to the grandfather clock, which was their pom theme, but it had a white t-shirt on. So like that was for this dance. So in the preview episode, they told us that this dance would be powerful with standout solo moments and just a lot of emotion. They had great emotion. So that is one of the things that I noticed out of this routine. It just wasn't in their faces, it was in their whole bodies. So, you know, some people, they have the emotion in their face, but then there's not a lot of resistance in the dance. And I just felt like they were performing like out of their box, like using their whole body to emote what this song was about. They had beautiful lines, like their leg lines were just gorgeous throughout the whole routine. So wonderful dance by UMD. Coming in third was Orange Coast College. Their song was Run to You by Whitney Houston, choreographed by, again, their coaches, Brittany Roberts and Jenna Warner. And again, this is their third time getting third behind UMD and Mankato. This order, first, second, third, has been the same for the past 3 years, which is crazy.
Consistency.
I know. And that's like something that we talked about when we were doing our predictions was like some of these teams are so consistent year to year that it's like hard to see a switch up. But we will get to the switch up coming up here. After third, it gets like crazy from last year. When I saw this routine, I said, holy solos, like these solo like pop out moments that they had in this routine were incredible. Just like really wow moments throughout the whole routine. Great synchronization. They had skirts and cowl necks on their costume, which I feel like can sometimes be hard. Like if someone is off, they can really make that really obvious when you have like parts of your costume that are out from your body. Like you have to make sure like the costume is also in the right place, not just your body. And so I thought that they were just so synchronized that their costume really added to the routine. A lot of emotion, like UMD and Mankato. Whitney Houston is a powerful singer. So to convey that emotion that Whitney Houston is giving in a song, I think everybody knows what that is. Like that's tough to do. And they really just like used their whole body to really commit to that. So congrats to OCC. That was a phenomenal routine. So this is where things get crazy, like placements wise. So Endicott is in fourth and they were in eighth last year. So bumping up 4 places. Stockton is after Endicott and they didn't make it to finals last year. So like this is all like people jumped all over the place. So really cool to see some new teams up here.
Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself here because I know Mankato, UMD, and OCC have been consistently in the top 3 for jazz the last 3 years, but like that's not going to last forever. So I'm curious if teams are going to come fighting for that top 3 spot next year. And I think are. Like this year was the intro to that because there was so much movement happening.
I agree. And like you can already see it with like the scores. So Endicott is only a half point behind OCC here. So they are all coming up and fighting for those spots. So Endicott danced to Thule by Travis Lake. It was self-choreographed by the dancers and coaches. So they said they took a risk with choreographing this routine themselves, but it paid off. The routine went through so many phases, but the end product was a perfect representation of us. And so I just feel like that just summed it up so succinctly. This routine required a lot of control. So you can tell that that's something that this team has as a strength. And so they optimized that by putting that in this routine all over the place. It was syncopated. There were a lot of hits, like hits and bends and kind of some weird positions. It was a little more modern. And that takes some like different technique than other jazz dances that you see at UDA.
Yeah, I loved the vibe of this routine. So it had some like spoken word parts and there was a dancer that would say the words that were happening. and just kind of embody that, and just the way she took on, I know we use this term a lot in hip hop, but I'm using it in jazz, the way she took on that persona and just owned it. And like, I feel like this dance, like they were all playing characters and just fully committed to it. And I loved this routine. I loved the costumes. So Endicott's colors are like green and this navy color, and their top was like up close. It was like this holographic kind of like printing, but on the screen it looked like green, and then the navy pants, and it just like I wanted to wear those costumes. I wanted to be in that dance because it just looked like such a like fun vibe to be a part of. I really, really liked this routine, and that was really tough. They were in second going into finals. So it was Mankato in first, Endicott in second, OCC in third, UMD in fourth. I loved UMD's dance, but I also wouldn't have been surprised if it ended up like this because I loved that routine so much. And yeah, I think that top 4 this year was really, really tough.
It's anyone's game with them moving the way that they are. So like I said, Stockton didn't make it to finals last year, and now they are in 5th. So props to Stockton. They did a dance to This Bitter Earth by Dinah Washington and Max Richter, choreographed by Aaron Knopp, their coach.
Who also did their hip hop.
So we just heard that name recently. I think it's so cool that all these like dancers and coaches are choreographing these routines. I just feel like it makes them so much more personal to the team, and like they're more invested in it because it's like coming from them, and it can be more personalized because the coaches and dancers like know who's dancing this routine, right? So they can use their strengths more.
Yeah, and I think they feel more comfortable changing it too, because sometimes when an outside choreographer comes in, you're like, well, I don't want to change it because then I'm changing
like
the
respect what
integrity
they
of
brought
their
in.
choreography. Right.
Yes.
So when you are like, when it's self-choreographed, when it's coach choreographed, like if something isn't working, then you don't have to call up your choreographer and be like, do you have any ideas for this? I think we're going to change that. Is that okay? Like, you don't want to do that to their art. I think there's like, you have a harder time doing that, and it's just easier to then just change the parts that aren't working when it's self-choreographed or coach choreographed. So
yeah, there's so much more freedom in that.
Yeah, it just depends on the team.
So they shared with us that their theme this year was Elevate, and that certainly paid off, like with advancing to finals and placing in hip hop. So lots of progress and growth seen, and just, elevating their team this year to the highest level. They kind of went with an Adam and Eve theme to their jazz this year. They had like a nude costume, like bodysuit costume that had like vines on it. They had great musicality in this dance. They kind of danced to the violin that was in the background of the song, which I thought was really cool and really kind of brought that to life. So yeah, just really enjoyed this routine from Stockton. So moving on to 6th to 11th in finals, we had University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire in 6th. They danced to Alone by Heart. It was choreographed by Jesse Palmer and Haley Holland of Tribe 99. Fun fact, they are both alumni of Arizona State University. Their team looks strong this year. First senior class that the coaches have had all 4 years. The coaches told us that they had held on to this song for 4 years, waiting for the right team to bring it to life. So it was a beautiful, beautiful routine. Coming in 7th was St. Cloud. They danced to Red Run Cold by World's First Cinema. It was choreographed by Kelsey Kane of Tribe 99. And 8th, we have College of New Jersey. They danced to Cry Me a River by Michael Bublé, choreographed by Paige St. John. So they told us that this year they were experimenting with a new approach and highlighting their dancers' versatility. So that was really fun to see in that routine.
One thing about the College of New Jersey, going back to kind of what I started hinting at when I was talking about their hip hop, their profile picture was like the gas pump on the dock of what we thought was a lake originally. I think it was on a river, maybe, because their song is Cry Me a River.
Sounds right.
Okay, thanks.
Coming in 9th, we have St. Ben's, who danced to Love of My Life by Queen. It was choreographed by Sierra Peters of Innovate Dance. Their profile picture was a picture of Freddie Mercury of Queen. They told us before Nationals that this dance would have a compelling story and a lasting impression. This was the first season for their head coach, Bailey Stark. So congratulations. That's really tough to come in as your first year of head coach, and they did a great job. Coming in 10th, we have Rowan. They danced to Cosmic Love by Florence and the Machine. It was choreographed by Sean McElhaney. Lastly, we have Westchester in 11th. They danced to a Toxic cover by Britney Spears. That was choreographed by Julie Berardi and Lauren DiPietro of Synergy Dance. They had a radioactive symbol in their profile picture. So Toxic. Got it.
Got it. Yeah, so many great dances in the open category this year. If you are someone who only watches Division 1A, we strongly encourage you to branch out and go watch open. They are just as talented as those Division 1A athletes, and they get so creative, and just it's so fun to watch. There's so much talent in all three divisions, Division 1 as well. So we strongly encourage you to go watch some of these routines. I have started to put together a playlist of the 2026 routines that are being added to YouTube. I'm adding them as I see them. So we still have the 2025 ones if you still want to go back and watch all of the 2025 routines that we've talked about previously. If you're looking for somewhere to watch them with sound, because all the ones that I've seen have been shared with sound, I think if you have a Varsity TV account and you go in and watch, I don't think that they're there with sound. So you can either find them on our YouTube playlist, or all of these teams have started to post them this week to their personal Instagram pages. Find them on there as well. And I'm sure you can go look it up on TikTok too. I've been seeing a lot of people sharing them there as well. I'm not sure if they'll stay up. It might depend on music licensing, or I've heard rumors that Varsity is going to start cracking down on that this year, so they might not be up long. So I think the safest bet is going to be on the team's Instagram pages, because those shouldn't get taken down. I think they have the rights to those. So go watch these routines. They're wonderful, amazing. Shan, do you have a favorite out of all of the open dances?
I do. It's Mankato's Jazz.
I knew
Mankato's
it.
Jazz was my favorite dance. But I do have to say another favorite was the hip hop by University of Puerto Rico, Rio Piedras. I thought that was a phenomenal routine too. And I just, like Casey said,
So
like
fun.
we challenge everybody to, if you are someone who only watches D1A, we challenge you to watch, like, just pick your favorite category. Like if you love hip hop, if you love pom, if you love jazz, like just pick your favorite category and watch a couple of the routines from there, because we think that you will be blown away by the talent and the energy, the originality, and yeah, just everything. Like it is just as enjoyable to watch as D1A, and I think it doesn't get the credit that it deserves sometimes. So even if you if you're listening to this, you have to go watch a couple routines from your favorite category in the open division.
I asked you your favorite, and then I'm sitting here trying to think of mine, and I'm like, oh no, I don't have one.
Case,
I mean,
what's your
probably
favorite?
obviously is like Northwest Community College. I just like,
Yeah.
I love them. I'm a fan. Like Northwest Community College, if you guys have merch, I want it. I'll be repping. Gosh, it's so tough. I think Duluth, University of Minnesota, Duluth Pom. It was just so fun.
That
I
was
loved
good.
the theme.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that it like, I'm nerdy, okay? Like, I'm a nerdy girl. I like nerdy things. I like Marvel. I like Disney. I like Stranger Things. Like, when I like something, I'm fully invested in it. So, like, the fact that they committed to that theme the way they did, it just scratched an itch. Just, ugh, I loved it.
I liked Eau Claire's hip hop too. The booty mix was really fun.
Oh, yes, it was so fun. It was so fun. I loved it. I also really liked, I mean, obviously, Endicott's jazz. I think I talked about that already, about how I really, really liked their jazz. I think that all of these teams are fabulous, but those are just the ones that I'm like, these are the ones that I want to get up and dance with them.
Yeah. I agree with UMD's pom too. I think that was my favorite pom routine. So we just want to say thank you to all of the open teams who shared their talent with us this past weekend. It was incredible, and we love watching you every single year. We can't wait to see more, to see what you guys bring next year, and we are invested in all of your journeys.
And if you guys have anything that you want to share with us about this season, just let us know. Send us a message. We'd love to share it on the podcast or on our social media. But if anybody has questions moving forward, or teams that they specifically want highlighted for Division 1 and Division 1A over the next couple weeks, reach out, let us know on any one of our socials. But we'll be covering Division 1 next week, and then Division 1A the following week. If you have any particular questions about something that happened in those categories, in those divisions, let us know. We'd love to talk about them. If you are not already, like we always say, follow, subscribe, like, comment, share, do all of the things on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. Engage with us, talk to us, send us your questions, send us your love, do all the things. It helps push our podcast further. It'll help us continue to create this. We spend a lot of time and energy on this, and we just want to know that people are enjoying it. If not, we're doing it for ourselves and we're having fun doing it. But we'd love to know if you're listening. Information referenced in this episode, we've compiled across varsity.com, across team socials, specifically Instagram, ChatGPT for some of those themes. But thank you so much to everyone that was so supportive over Nationals weekend. We have received so much love, and it's just fun to hear that everybody's listening. And we hope that you join us the next 2 weeks to talk about Division I and Division 1A.
We'll catch you right back here next week for all things college dance.
This has been
8 Count Breakdown.